In 2020, I went from knowing nothing about game engines and coding to knowing enough to make my first game before the year was up. So here's how I learned game development in 6 months. Back in 2020, the world was in lockdown. I went from working from like 7 till 8 every day to suddenly having so much free time at home. It was like waking from a dream. I finally had some time to slow down and relax. And I actually had the crazy thought, what if I could just work from home and do this for a living instead of having to go back into work every day 9 till 5? What if I could work from home in a relaxed environment doing what I enjoyed? This first step is less of a step and more of a foundation to build the steps on. You're not going to get far in anything if you lack drive and motivation to keep going. One of the ways I pushed myself to not let this just be a dream was that I purchased a computer with my savings and I started to tell people what I was planning on doing. After I'd done that, I knew I couldn't just back off. My hands were tied really. I couldn't just give up in a couple of weeks because I'd invested into it. So maybe before you properly start learning, if you really want to motivate yourself to keep going, tell some friends about it, clear out a space in the living room to put a desk in your computer, whatever you need to do to actively and physically commit. So in my first 3 months, I followed a couple of tutorials on YouTube. These were tutorials about making games from scratch, from start to finish. And it was definitely the best place to start. Find one that will take you through development whilst actually making a game. This ensures it's not just theoretical knowledge, but it's practical learn on the job knowledge. You might be tempted to follow the tutorial so that at the end of it, you have a nice completed game. I realized early on that this would slow down my development and learning. So what I did, instead of trying to get every bit perfect, was just not be so precious about it. This isn't your final game. You're just learning. Whenever I got stuck or my art asset wasn't quite right or I understood the concept enough to move on, I just moved on. If I didn't do this, I would have got bogged down in all the details. And I would have lost my motivation because it wouldn't have been progressing fast enough for me. And this actually moves us on to my next accidental step that I took. Redo what I just learnt? Come on, I want to get out of this learning step and make a game. This step was crucial in my development, and I don't know if I would have done it if it hadn't been forced on me. So, whilst following this Zelda game tutorial by a guy called Mr. Taft, I'll link it down below, I had to restart it not once, not twice, 3 times. I kept running into technical issues that wiped or corrupted my data or something went wrong, and it was frustrating. But I stuck with it and I went through everything I'd already done again. Each time I went back over what I'd already done, it actually sunk into my head more. So if you are following a tutorial series and things are starting to come a bit loose in your mind and you're not quite understanding how everything's fitting together and it's getting a bit too much, maybe this is a sign to scrap that project, just put it to the side and say, okay, let's do another run. Treat it like a roguelike game maybe. You've done that run, start from the beginning, a fresh run, you can use what you've learned already and you'll be a lot better off for it. So by the end of 3 months, I had enough knowledge to branch out into little mini tests, little mini projects. So what I did was really simply come up with one small mechanic that I just wanted to just create a new Unity project and just test it out, see if I could do it. Started with some sprite layouts, some 4-directional movement, decided to do a skeleton animation in Unity, and obviously at this stage I still had to look things up online. I mean, even now I'm still looking things up online, and that's okay. I had a lot of fun just doing something that was mine and not from a tutorial, and really gaining confidence. And it may even give you some ideas for some future games you might want to make. One of these tests has now progressed into the game I'm finishing now 2 years later, Lazerball. And finally, to round off my skills to the point where I was creating a full game, I tried to create small little rubbish games from start to finish. Despite the fear and trepidation of publicly committing to a project, I pushed through and I decided to enter a game jam. Game jams are small little competitions where a theme is chosen, and a group of people are trying to make a game based on that theme in a very short period of time. And I felt in over my head. I was thinking, what am I doing? I don't know I don't know how to make games. I've never made a game before. I've done little tests, and everything I'm doing, I'm having to look up online on Google to know how to do the simplest thing. But I decided to bite the bullet and just go all in. Just do it. There's no downside. You learn a lot, even if the game at the end is just really bad. And my game was rubbish. But that drive and motivation of actually finishing a game, no matter how bad it was, really spurred me on to just say, I can do this. I can make a game. So by going through these 4 stages, I was able to go from zero programming and Unity knowledge to making my own game. I already had some artistic abilities, so if art isn't something you are confident in, let me tell you, there are ways you can actually make really good looking games, even if you're a beginner. I'll talk you through that in this video. So thank you for hearing my story, and I hope it motivates you in whatever you're doing. Bye bye.